Hey guys, so as a continuation on to the next video where I kept emphasizing to you guys that I had a little surprise for you where I was going to share with you something that I enjoy doing or I've learned through past projects that I worked on that you can add on to your finished product to make it look better, or your finished project to make it look better. So I have to apologize first because again, I told you guys I'm just learning this recording thing and this YouTube thing, and sometimes you forget when you speak verbatim about what you're working on or what you're trying to get across to your viewers. So one of the things I realized back when we were doing the Valances is that I forgot to tell you guys, if you're going to continue to follow me, and again, like I said, I'm going to stick with this Sewing with Eslin channel, sharing what I know, what I enjoy. So with that said, I forgot to tell you guys when we started cutting out the valances in our last video to always save your scraps. That's something that you want to get in the habit of doing, even if you don't continue to come to my channel. Always save your scraps whenever you sew, because you never know when you may need that scrap later on in your project, or you may need a little piece, or you may decide to do something different. So with that said, I did save all of my scraps, not all of them because some are not salvageable, but I did save, like if it's a big piece like this, or this was probably part of the fold. Remember how at the valances that I showed you, I kept the ends and I thought, well, that's a really big piece. So I saved it. So what I'm going to start showing you guys now, or what my surprise was, is we are going to make little bows. Isn't that cute? I think it's cute anyway. We are going to make little bows to add to our valances. Now and again, you don't have to do this, but if you're watching this video, evidently you wanted to see what my surprise was for you guys. So we're going to make little bows. Before, if you recall, I made 4 valances. So I haven't really decided how many I want, and how many you make is really up to you, depending on how much of a change you want to make to your valance. What I thought would be nice for my valances was at least 4. I may do 8, I may do more. I haven't decided because it's going to determine where I actually want to lay them, how many I want to make. And what I wanted to do was, if you recall my valances, I had 2 different types. I had this type, 2 were this material, and 2 were this material. So what I thought I would do is take my bows and do the opposite, just to make them or bring them together. Add a bow to the opposite fabrics. Again, I haven't decided where, but we'll figure that out. So I'm just going to add a bow to this, and as you can see, it kind of brings it together. And I know my pattern was busy. I told you guys that from the beginning, but I'm not going to keep these valances up because they actually don't match my kitchen slash dining room area, and that's something that is going to get painted somewhere down the line. I have to keep talking to my husband about that. But anyway, so I'm doing my fabric based on colors that I think I may eventually in the near future paint my living room. You also want to if you didn't pick a fabric that matches, say, your living room or your whatever room you decided, you could always use it in another room, or you could say, okay, now that I know how to make them, next time I'll match it to the actual room. I hope that makes sense. Maybe it's a little too much, but anyway. So what I'm going to do is just what I did in my previous videos. I know 2 techniques that we can use in order to make our bows, and what I wanted to show you guys was this. First of all, if by chance you did save scraps, and again, if you didn't and you still want to do this, a lot of fabric stores have these little bins where they sell pieces. I think they call it something else, but they sell pieces of discontinued fabrics or fabrics that was cut to the end, so they would never sell it. And it might be $1, $2, 50 cents. I mean, it can be really cheap. So if you didn't save your remnants from your cutting, you can always go get something if you choose to do this project with me. So again, what I did was I took my scraps and I cut. The length of this is 12. So hold on 1 second. So anyway, the length of this is 12. The width is 1.5. So try to remember. I'll give you this, guys, in case you want to go back later. So the length is 12 and the width is 1.5. Okay, and then what we do is I just randomly cut quite a few. Okay, and so here we go with the first technique. So what I did with this piece is how it looked. I took it and I folded it completely in half. See, that's half. And then what I did is I went to the sewing machine and right along our raw edges, you remember our raw edges is the part of the fabric that is not finished. I went along the raw edges after I turned it in half and I did a straight stitch. You can see my straight stitch. Now this technique personally I think is a little difficult, but I'm going to do my best to demonstrate it for you guys, because if you get it, it really works. So you get a good size safety pin, not too big. You may even be able to do it with a small piece depending on how heavy your fabric is. So this is the safety pin. You can see that, right, guys? This is the safety pin that I'm going to be using. So you take the safety pin, you get an end of the fabric that I just showed you, because the raw edges of the ends are not finished or sewn together at all, right? So you take your pin and you stick it in one side of it. See how I stuck it in one end side of it? So this is one side and this is another. And then you close the pin. Then you take, I think they call that the head of the pin. I believe you take the head, tuck it all the way in your fabric, right? Well, tuck it down. I hope you can see it. Tuck it down as far as it can go. And then what you do is you just slowly, and be gentle with this, because remember, the pin can tear your fabric. So you just keep pushing it, the pin down. As you push the pin down, turn your fabric over. And the purpose of this, I hope I have it right, because sometimes I really do things opposite, being left-handed. And I'm not against left-handed. It just seemed like, to me, I may look awkward to you guys. But you just keep pushing the pin down and pulling. And you see how as you keep pulling your fabric over the pin, eventually you can just push the pin and pull. Push the pin and pull. And again, I just think this technique is difficult if you're a new sewer. Yeah, that's a word, sewer. If you're a new sewer. So once you get it at the end, now this is the opposite end. All you do is just pull your fabric. See? And this is what we did. We reversed the fabric. So now remember, we were on the wrong side. Remember, you could see my raw edges. Now you can't. It's all on the right side. It's on the right side of the fabric. So we basically turned the fabric inside using a pin. So hold on. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the ironing board and I'm just going to press, I hope I'm showing you guys, the seam down. I'm just going to press it. I'll be right back. Hold on.